Imagine a situation where a country secretly attacks its own allies, but makes it look like the enemy did it. Sounds like something from a spy movie, right? But in international politics, this strategy actually exists. It's known as a false flag operation, a covert attack designed to blame someone else and create a reason for retaliation. Now, as tensions between Israel and Iran continue to rise, some analysts and officials are raising a controversial question. Could false flag tactics be used to trigger a much bigger war in the Middle East? Today, we're going to break down the history, the accusations, and the dangerous possibilities behind these claims. First, let's understand what a false flag operation actually means. The term false flag originally comes from naval warfare. In the past, warships sometimes raised the enemy's flag to confuse their opponents. This allowed them to approach targets without being immediately recognized. Over time, the concept evolved into intelligence and military strategy. In modern politics, a false flag operation usually means secretly carrying out an attack while making it appear as if another country or group is responsible. The purpose can vary. Sometimes it's done to manipulate public opinion. Sometimes it's meant to justify military action. And sometimes it's used to drag other countries into a conflict. Throughout history, many governments have been accused of planning or carrying out such operations, but proving them is extremely difficult. Most intelligence operations happen in secrecy, and the truth often remains hidden for years or even decades. Now let's move to the conflict between Israel and Iran. For decades, these two countries have been locked in a quiet but intense rivalry. Instead of fighting directly on the battlefield, they've engaged in what many experts call a shadow war. This shadow war includes cyber attacks, assassinations, sabotage missions, and operations carried out through proxy groups. Israel has repeatedly accused Iran of trying to develop nuclear weapons and supporting militant groups that threaten Israeli security. Iran, on the other hand, accuses Israel of carrying out covert attacks inside its territory, including assassinations of nuclear scientists and sabotage of nuclear facilities. Because of this ongoing tension, both sides are extremely suspicious of each other's actions. And this is where the discussion about false flag operations begins. Iranian officials have repeatedly warned that Israel might carry out secret attacks designed to blame Iran. According to these claims, such attacks could target infrastructure, military bases, or even civilian areas in other countries. If those attacks were blamed on Iran, they could potentially trigger a larger international response against Tehran. From Iran's perspective, this could pull more countries, especially the United States, into a broader conflict. However, Israel strongly denies such accusations. Israeli officials argue that Iran often spreads these claims to distract from its own activities and influence regional politics. So who is telling the truth? That's where history becomes important. One of the most famous examples often mentioned in discussions about Israeli covert operations is something known as the Lavon Affair. This incident happened in 1954. At the time, Egypt was negotiating with Britain over the withdrawal of British troops from the Suez Canal. Israeli intelligence feared that if Britain left Egypt, it would strengthen Egypt's influence in the region. So a secret Israeli operation was launched. The plan involved planting bombs in American and British facilities inside Egypt, including cinemas, libraries, and cultural centers. The attacks were supposed to look like they were carried out by Egyptian extremists. The idea was that if Western countries believed Egypt was unstable and dangerous, Britain might delay its withdrawal from the region. But the operation went terribly wrong. Several agents involved in the mission were captured by Egyptian authorities. The entire plot was exposed, creating a massive political scandal inside Israel. The defense minister eventually resigned, and the incident became one of the most controversial intelligence failures in Israeli history. Because this case was confirmed decades later, critics often use it as evidence that governments sometimes do carry out deceptive operations. However, it's important to understand that intelligence agencies around the world, not just Israel, have been accused of similar tactics during different periods of history. Moving to more recent times, there have also been controversial allegations involving Israeli intelligence activities related to Iran. Some reports have claimed that Israeli agents allegedly posed as American CIA officers while recruiting members of militant groups to carry out attacks inside Iran. According to these claims, the goal was to destabilize Iran while hiding Israel's involvement. However, these allegations remain disputed and have never been fully confirmed, and this highlights a major problem when discussing covert intelligence operations. The truth is often extremely difficult to verify. Many reports come from anonymous sources, leaked documents, or intelligence insiders whose identities remain secret. This makes it very hard to separate real information from political propaganda. In today's world, information warfare has become just as important as traditional military conflict. Countries use media, online platforms, and public narratives to shape how global audiences interpret events. Accusing an enemy of planning a false flag operation can itself become a powerful political tool. It can create suspicion, fear, and confusion. And in an already tense region like the Middle East, even rumors can have serious consequences. The biggest concern is escalation. If a major attack happens somewhere in the region and Iran was blamed for it, the reaction could be immediate and severe. Countries allied with Israel could respond militarily. Iran might retaliate. And within days, a local incident could grow into a much larger regional war. That's why analysts often warn that the situation between Israel and Iran is extremely fragile. Both sides possess advanced military capabilities. Both have powerful allies. And both are deeply suspicious of each other's intentions. In such an environment, even misunderstandings or misinformation could push the region closer to conflict. So the big question remains, could a false flag operation actually happen today? The honest answer is that no one outside intelligence agencies truly knows. History shows that covert operations have been used by many governments, but modern conflicts are also filled with propaganda, rumors, and strategic narratives designed to influence public opinion. What is clear is that the rivalry between Israel and Iran is one of the most dangerous geopolitical tensions in the world today. And as long as that rivalry continues, accusations, suspicions, and secret operations will likely remain part of the story. The real danger may not only be hidden attacks in the shadows, but also how quickly fear and misinformation can push nations toward a war that no one originally intended. And in today's interconnected world, one mysterious incident could change the course of history overnight.